me explain how this goes. I draw, she writes, and it came to her attention that one point, sometime in, I don't know, 2019, 2018, 20 something like that, I wasn't really doing much drawing anymore. I'd kind of lost my will to draw, and she thought that was very sad. And so she said, why don't we collaborate on a project together? And the idea we came up with was, instead of me illustrating a book or a piece of writing that Barbara had written, I would do an illustration and she would write a story about the illustration. And we decided to do this, and we collected them together. We would do them one a night. I would send an illustration to Barbara, and she would read it the following morning and write a story about it, and then we'd do another one. And so it proceeded. So we did about, how many did we do? 20 drawings, 20 stories. We collected them in a book, which you can find at the merch store. The very last copies of Cuckoo Head, Cool Dog.
As Edwin said, as Edwin said, when we were working on the book, he used to email me a drawing every evening. I'd save it, open it up, and write to it. And the rules I kind of set myself were everything was in one session, first draft. The only difference between those first drafts and what went in the book was, you know, the occasional spelling mistake or a bit of punctuation, but virtually no redrafting. But there was an in-between stage, and what we thought would be quite nice if people were interested in having a little audience participation this evening. The in-between stage was never went straight into the. I don't think it's working as good. Is it? Yeah. Never went straight into the writing, whatever it was. I did a process which I call word banking, and we've kind of looked at how our processes work, and we came up with this idea of it's a sort of a summoning. Okay, so what Edwin is doing is drawing directly from something, presumably his absolute horror of an subconscious, I don't know, but what have you. And I was writing with no planning, no preconceptions, no self-editing, and I would do that via just a very, very fast word list. I would look at the drawing and just write words down, zub, 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 zub. And then it would just come to a sort of a natural end. And by the end, which is sort of the magical bit, was I nearly always had some idea of where it was going to go, whether it became a poem or whether it became a story. And it was never planned that way. So what we thought we would do, and we've got loads of pencils and pens and bits of card and paper, is give you an opportunity to create your reaction, your word bank, if you like, to what Edwin's going to draw. If you feel the flow and want to carry on and write lots of words and take this away and do something with it, Ambit is open to submissions on the subject of magic, and we are talking about this process, if you like, as being one interpretation of magic. That if you wanted to take your word bank away, do something with it, and send it out to Ambit, they would be more than delighted.
What will emerge on the board, I hope, you'll find some sort of kind of inspiration, let's say. Okay, I'll give it a go.
time with it. It is different to the practice that Edwin and I do, because I see the finished thing once. That's that.
So this would be the basic way we would do it. It's a bit difficult on a big sort of rub out board, and also I would incorporate kind of computer techniques. I'd shove it through the computer and distort it as well. You know, with that one, I might just sort of decay it a lot and see what happened with it, or fill more bits in and things like that.
Pixie shoes, transfiguration.
One up on Pixie shoes.
Yeah, Pixie Shoes. That's the title of this one, Pixie Shoes. Okay.
Horns, worms, snails, rubber limbs, bifurcation. Reversed roots, claws, curves, teeth roots, eyeball weeping black tears, wriggling udders, flat feet, rocks, cyclops, hair raising, snake hair, tails.
Right.
Blame, flame, odyssey.
Right. Good.
Was that from Cyclops?
Well, it kind of worked.
I've got flow, fire, forked filaments, fingers, burdened baggage, embrace encounter, tree-foot sentinel. Starts to sound like poetry if you read it right, doesn't it? Heavy, dripping, detached, grasp, greeting, lidded.
Got a house in there.
I can't even read what I've written.